The metal door slid open with a soft hiss. Captain James Reed stepped into the observation room and took a deep breath. Through the wide glass window before him, he saw it for the first time, Earth's greatest secret. Beautiful, isn't she? Admiral Thompson stood beside him, hands clasped behind his back. Reed could only nod. The massive starship hung in the black void of space, its hull gleaming under the work lights. It stretched nearly a mile long, with smooth lines that reminded him of the ancient ocean predators of Earth's seas. The EDS Thunderbolt, Thompson said with pride. Earth's first true warship. I thought we signed peace treaties, Reed said quietly. The Galactic Council forbids warships of this size. Thompson laughed. The same council that refuses to protect our colonies. The same aliens who treat us like children. For 200 years we've played nice, followed their rules. And what has it gotten us? Nothing but disrespect. Reed watched as small worker ships moved around the Thunderbolt, making final adjustments. And they don't know about this? Not a clue. Thompson smiled. We built it in pieces, assembled it here behind the moon. Even most of our own government doesn't know. Why me? Reed asked. At 42, he was young for such a command. His dark hair showed only touches of gray at the temples, and while his face bore lines from years of service, his blue eyes remained sharp and clear. Because you understand what's at stake. Thompson handed him a small tablet. Your crew assignments. I picked the best. Reed scrolled through the list. He stopped at 2 names, Lisa Gray and Mike Wilson. Problem? Thompson raised an eyebrow. No, they're the best at what they do. I just didn't think they'd clear security. Thompson laughed again. Gray questioned orders during the Mars incident. Wilson punched a superior officer who tried to cut corners on engine safety. They're not perfect soldiers, but they're perfect for this mission. A young officer entered the room and saluted. Admiral, we've intercepted another transmission. Thompson nodded. Play it. The wall screen lit up with strange symbols that shifted and changed. A harsh voice spoke in a language Reed didn't understand, but the computer translated the words at the bottom of the screen. Earth sectors remain undefended. Proceed with harvest plans. The humans suspect nothing. The screen went dark. That's the 3rd one this month, Thompson said. The Scourge, a species from the Outer Rim. They've been picking off isolated colonies, and now they've set their eyes on us. Have you told the Council? Reed asked. Of course. They said we're being paranoid, that no species would dare attack Council-protected worlds. Thompson's face hardened. But we both know Earth is barely protected at all. They placed us under quarantine for 2 centuries, limiting our ships, our weapons, our expansion. Reed looked back at the Thunderbolt. And this is our answer. This is our survival. Thompson corrected him. Your orders are simple, Captain. Take the Thunderbolt beyond our solar system. Show these aliens that humans aren't helpless children to be pushed around, or harvested. Make them fear us. 3 days later. Reed stood on the bridge of the Thunderbolt. Around him, his crew worked at their stations, checking systems and preparing for launch. Lisa Gray approached him, her dark skin contrasted sharply with the white uniform of the tactical officer. Her hair was cut short for space travel, and her brown eyes missed nothing. Captain, she said, all weapon systems check out. The pulse cannons are unlike anything I've ever seen. Let's hope we don't need to use them, Reed replied. If you believe that, why are you here? She raised an eyebrow. Before Reed could answer, Mike Wilson's voice came over the comm system. Engine room to bridge, the jump drive is online and purring like a kitten. Whatever the eggheads did with this tech, it's light years beyond standard drives. Wilson was a large man, his hands seeming too big for the delicate work he did. But those hands could fix anything that moved, and his mind understood machines better than people. "Good work, Chief," Reed said. "Are we ready?" "As ready as anyone can be on a ship that shouldn't exist," Wilson replied. Reed turned to his communications officer. "Any word from Earth Command?" "Yes, sir. Admiral Thompson sends his regards, and says, remember the old naval tradition." Reed smiled. In the old days of sea travel, once a captain was beyond sight of land, they answered to no one but themselves on the sea. Now, once the Thunderbolt leaves Earth's system, we'll truly be on our own. "All stations report," Reed ordered. One by one, the crew confirmed their readiness. "Detach from station," Reed said. "Take us out slowly." The massive ship eased away from the hidden base. Through the viewports, Reed could see Earth growing smaller. "Permission to speak freely?" Gray asked quietly. Reed nodded. "Half the crew thinks we're on a suicide mission. The other half thinks we're starting a war." "And what do you think?" Reed looked out at the receding globe. "I think it's about time someone showed the galaxy that humans aren't to be underestimated." Reed smiled. "That's exactly why you're here." As the Thunderbolt cleared the moon's orbit, all eyes turned to Reed. "Set course for the edge of the solar system," he ordered. "Standard drive until we clear Jupiter's orbit, then prepare the jump drive." "Jump destination, sir?" asked the navigator. Reed thought of the alien transmission and the threats lurking in the darkness between stars, the tidy system. "Intelligence suggests that's where the Scourge fleet is gathering." Gray looked at him with surprise. "That's well beyond the Council's quarantine line." "Yes," Reed said simply. "It is." The Thunderbolt's engines powered up. Reed felt the weight of his mission, 200 years of playing by alien rules, 200 years of being treated as lesser beings. That ended today. Approaching tidy. Reed watched the bridge monitors. "Captain," the sensor officer called out, "multiple energy signatures detected near the fifth planet. Ships are moving in formation." "Show me," Reed said. The main screen displayed a massive gas giant, surrounded by angular vessels with red markings that reminded Reed of blood spatters. "The Scourge fleet," Gray whispered. 12 war vessels, 3 transports. And they're heading toward a small trading post on the moon. About 500 civilians. Reed's jaw tightened. Their orders had been to observe and gather intelligence, not to engage. But he couldn't stand by and watch innocents die. "Prepare all weapons," Reed ordered. "Bring engines to full power. We're going in." A distress signal blinked on Reed's console. "They're begging for help. Let them know aid is coming. But don't identify us yet." The Thunderbolt surged forward, engines flaring. Scourge fighters launched, small and agile. Gray locked targeting systems. "Fire," Reed said. Bright blue pulses shot from the Thunderbolt's cannons, disabling 9 fighters with surgical precision. The remaining ships faltered. "They're hailing us," Gray reported. The screen flickered to show a gray-skinned alien with 4 yellow eyes. "You have entered Scourge hunting grounds. Identify yourself or be destroyed." Reed stepped forward. "I am Captain James Reed of the Earth Defense Ship Thunderbolt. Withdraw your forces immediately, or face the consequences." The alien commander's eyes widened. "Humans confined to their system by Council decree. You cannot be here." "And yet here we are," Reed replied calmly. "Withdraw your forces." The alien snarled but, after a tense moment, muted the channel and the Scourge fleet powered down. Reed turned to the comms officer. "Open a channel to the trading post." A blue-skinned administrator appeared. "Unknown vessel, we thank you for your intervention. I am Administrator Thal of the Meridian Trading Post. May I ask who has come to our aid?" Reed straightened. "Captain James Reed of the Earth Defense Ship Thunderbolt." Thal's eyes widened. "Earth, but how?" The Council has kept you isolated for centuries. Reed exchanged a glance with Gray. Things change. The truth revealed. In the trading post's Grand Hall, Reed, Gray, and Wilson met Thal privately. A holographic map of the galaxy displayed hundreds of red dots, scourge attacks. Overlaid in blue were Council protection zones, conspicuously retreating before the scourge. The Council has been abandoning outer systems, Thal explained bitterly. They use the scourge as a weapon against anyone who might ally with you, including us. Wilson frowned. Why would they do that? The Council is supposed to maintain peace. They fear what they don't control, Thal said. Humans scare them more than most. They contain you, then use the scourge to thin out potential allies. Reed felt a chill. We accepted this quarantine for 2 centuries, thinking it was for our protection. Thal shook his head. It was containment. A comms buzz interrupted them. Captain, the Council Enforcement Division ships have arrived and are hailing us. Gray's voice was tense, 3 silver warships, bearing the Council's emblem. Reed's face hardened. Prepare to support me on the bridge. Betrayal and sabotage. On the Thunderbolt's bridge, Commander Vex of the Council Enforcement Division's face filled the screen. Power down your weapons and prepare to be boarded, it ordered. Reed stepped forward. We responded to a distress call under Galactic law. We have every right to be here. Vex sneered. You violated Council directives. Power down or be destroyed. Reed glanced at Gray. Their weapon systems were offline, victims of a hidden virus. I won't ask again, Vex said. Reed held up a hand. All hands, battle stations. Then, quietly, he tapped his comm, Chief Wilson, status. Virus in the main computer, a Council backdoor, designed to shut us down one by one. I can fix it, but I need time. And there's an alternative comm system the Meridians shared. We can call for help on frequencies the Council doesn't monitor. Reed nodded. Do it. Gray, charge the hammer. We'll fire 1 shot to blind their sensors, just long enough to escape. Hammer charging, Gray said, her fingers dancing over the controls. The Great Escape. As the 3 Council ships closed in, Reed gave the order, now. The hammer fired, sending an invisible pulse that shattered the Council ship's sensors. Engines roaring, the Thunderbolt dove toward the moon and used its gravity to slingshot around, putting the Council vessels between 2 and 3 light minutes behind. They're recovering. Gray called. But we have a gap. Hold course, Reed replied. Chief Wilson, status. Comms adapted. We have a channel to the Meridian fleet, and an open route to jump. Engage jump drive, Reed ordered. The stars stretched into lines of light. In an instant, the Thunderbolt vanished, leaving the Council ships blinking in the gas giant's orbit. A new chapter. When the jump ended, Reed stood on the bridge as comm returned. Gray and Wilson joined him, eyes bright with triumph and relief. We did it, Gray said softly. Reed nodded. We showed them that Earth won't be contained any longer. Now, let's send a message to every corner of the galaxy, humanity has arrived. He keyed his comm message to Earth Command, mission underway. Proceeding to Meridian rendezvous. Over. As the Thunderbolt powered up for its next jump, Reed allowed himself a small, satisfied smile. 2 centuries of obedience, broken in a single day. The galaxy would never be the same. The Thunderbolt shuddered as its jump drive re-engaged, streaking through the void toward the rendezvous coordinates the Meridians had provided. On the bridge, the glow of distant stars returned to pinpricks as normal space snapped back into view. Before them lay a flotilla of sleek ships, Meridian cruisers and corvettes, their hulls aglow with soft blue energy fields. Bridge to Captain Reed, Gray's voice came steady over the comm, we're aligned with the Meridian formation. They're matching our drift orbit. Reed permitted himself a measured nod. Open a channel. A calm, resonant voice filled the bridge. Earth vessel, this is Admiral Saran of the Meridian Alliance. Welcome. On the main screen, the Meridian flagship loomed, a graceful craft of pearlescent alloy, its contours echoing the grace of the trading post's architecture. Admiral Saran, Reed replied, voice firm. Thank you for coming. We've evidence the Galactic Council has betrayed us all. We need your support to expose them. Saran's pale eyes, luminous against her silver-hued skin, narrowed with concern. Show us. Reed tapped his console. Instantly, the bridge monitors displayed the holographic map Thal had shown, Scourge attack patterns, Council protection zones retreating, and now a new overlay, the Meridian Fleet's patrol boundaries, clearly constrained by Council edict. Saran studied it in silence. This confirms our worst fears. The Council has weaponized chaos. But openly opposing them risks war. Reed met her gaze. Peace forced by fear is no peace at all. Will you stand with Earth to confront the Council? Saran hesitated, then inclined her head. For truth, and for the safety of all free worlds, we will stand. A soft cheer rippled through the Meridian Bridge crew visible on the screen. Gray allowed herself a relieved smile. We'll begin our joint operation immediately, Reed said. First, restore the Thunderbolt's systems. Then, secure proof from Council data archives, any record of their secret backdoor protocols. Finally, deliver it to every allied Senate and free colony. Understood, Saran replied. Our engineers can assist with your repairs. And our intelligence officers have a hidden relay network to distribute the evidence. Reed cut the channel and turned to Wilson. Chief, coordinate with Meridian Engineering. Get weapons, shields, engines back online. We leave nothing to chance. Aye, sir. Wilson strode toward the turbolift. Reed paused, then added, Gray, prepare tactical plans. If the Council Enforcement Division tries another ambush, we will be ready. Gray tapped her console. Already in progress, Captain. I've simulated several engagement scenarios using Meridian fighter squadrons. We'll be as unpredictable as possible. Reed allowed himself one last look at the Meridian fleet arrayed alongside them. 2 centuries of quarantine, of silent isolation, were unraveling in a single day. The galaxy was watching. Let's prove that humanity, and our new allies, won't be cowed, he said softly, voice resolute. As the Thunderbolt settled into dock beside the Meridian flagship, Captain Reed felt the weight of history press upon him, and, for the first time since waking in the observation room, he felt something lighter than fear, hope. Below the docking clamps, the Thunderbolt's inner airlocks hissed open as Meridian engineers in sleek gray suits floated across the gangway. Chief Wilson met them halfway, tool kit in hand, and gave a curt nod. Lieutenant Merrick, he called to a Meridian engineer, will need access to your diagnostic uplink. Let's start with the power distribution matrix. Those backdoor circuits are embedded at level 3 bus. Marek's gloved fingers danced over a portable console. On it. We'll isolate the quarantine virus and patch in your contingency firmware. Above them, in the Thunderbolt's command module, Lisa Gray and Meridian tactical officers crowded around a holoprojector. Schematics of the Council's enforcement corvette spun in mid-air, overlaid with heat map projections of shield generators, weapon mounts, even crew quarters. If we strike their forward sensor arrays, Gray pointed to a glowing red node, we can blind their long-range targeting and escape any blockade. A Meridian captain, tall and angular, tapped his chin. Our squadrons can create a diversion at Vector 12. Your Thunderbolt leads the charge through the gap, then we punch straight to the data relay station. Reed stepped into the circle of light. Which station? The Meridian captain's eyes reflected the projector's glow. Council archives, orbiting Indra Prime. It's unguarded, no military presence, but heavily encrypted. We'll need to upload a worm to extract the logs. Reed folded his arms. Time frame: 2 hours to thoroughly repair your systems, Wilson's voice crackled in on Reed's comm, plus 30 minutes to fly at flank speed to the relay. We'll have exactly 1 hour on station before the Council attempts to lock us out. Reed nodded. Good. I'll alert Admiral Saran. Gray, prepare a short briefing for the Joint Strike Group. We move in 4 hours. In the Thunderbolt's holodeck conference room, Meridian and Earth officers stood before a wide viewport showing Jupiter's swirling bands. Reed addressed them crisply. Today, our objective is twofold. First, disable the Council's archive relay on Indra Prime. Second, retrieve every record of their hidden quarantine protocols. We strike swiftly, with minimal collateral. Understood? Heads bowed in agreement. Admiral Saran, Reed continued, your fleet will engage any Council enforcement ships that respond. Lisa and my crew will board the station, deploy the data worm, and withdraw immediately. Chief Wilson, you'll coordinate extraction. Saran smiled, a rare warmth in her pale features. We stand ready, Captain. Reed made eye contact with each unit leader. Then let's show the galaxy what free peoples can accomplish when we trust one another. Cheers echoed softly. 2 hours later, the Thunderbolt's engines hummed with renewed strength. The repaired shields glowed a deep sapphire, and the pulse cannon barrels opened like hungry eyes. Reed walked the deck, inspecting every hatch, every bulkhead. He paused before a bulkhead labeled escape pods. If worst comes to worst, he muttered, we all get home alive. Lisa Gray joined him, data pad in hand. Systems are green across the board, Captain. Jump drive is ready. Weapons calibrated. Reed laid a hand on her shoulder. Good work, Lieutenant. Let's go make history. On the bridge, Meridian fighters formed glittering wings around the Thunderbolt. Saran's flagship hovered off the port bow. Coordinates set, the navigator announced. Indra Prime relay station in vector lock. Reed took his seat. He swallowed once, then issued the order, engage jump drive. A familiar shudder rippled through the hull, then silence as the stars stretched into lines of light. In one breath, they were at Indra Prime. The circuit-ringed moon gleamed below them, the archive relay station at its north pole, a monolithic ring of dark alloy, orbiting silently. No Council cruisers patrolled. Only the station's lights and rotating comm arrays marked its presence. Approach at pitch 07, Reed directed. Engines at half power. Let's stay off thermal sensors as long as possible. The Thunderbolt slid into position. Gray transferred herself to an EVA pod with 5 Meridian Marines. Reed watched the pod detach, phasing silently toward the relay station's docking ring. Moments later, Reed keyed his comm, you're clear. A breathless pause, then Gray's voice, hatch open. Station's empty. Heading to central node. Reed closed his eyes. Do it fast. On my mark, extract data and get out. Mark, Gray replied. Inside the station's core, Gray and her team inserted the data worm. Lights flickered as the program decrypted layers of Council protocols, quarantine memos, covert sabotage directives. Files copied automatically into encrypted drives. Gray tapped her comm, download complete. Moving to extraction point. Copy that, Reed said. Thunderbolt clearing jump threshold. He turned to the bridge officers. Get ready to vanish. Gray's voice crackled again. We have incoming Council ships, 2 corvettes at Vector 11. Reed nodded. Admiral Saran, draw their fire. The Meridian flagship veered out, leading the corvettes on a wild chase. On the relay's comm channel, Reed's sharp voice rang out, Gray, launch decoy pods and jump when ready. Gray's voice, steady despite the alarm, decoys away. Pod hatch in sight. Ready to jump. Engage, Lieutenant. The Thunderbolt flared, vanishing from the moon's orbit. In their wake, stunned Council corvettes found only drifting decoy pods, and a blinking archive station, its secrets already gone. Back in real space, the Meridian fleet reformed around Reed's ship. The logs began distributing through hidden relays, reaching every ally world. Reed allowed himself a single, triumphant smile. The Council's lies lay exposed, and Earth was free at last to claim its place among the stars. Weeks later, in hidden enclaves across the galaxy, lights blinked to life as the leaked Council archives rippled through clandestine comm networks. On Varan Prime, a trade world long ground between Council patrols and Scourge raids, merchants paused mid-haggle as bulkheads hummed to life with encrypted bursts of evidence. Council officers, their uniforms stripped of authority, found themselves barred from secure terminals. At Meridian High Command, Admiral Saran watched the flow of incoming reports. "They're flooding in faster than we can process," she murmured to Commander Talion at her side. Every world under quarantine, every backdoor protocol revealed. The Councils had centuries to hide this. Talion's expression was grim but resolute. "It's time to act." Back aboard the Thunderbolt, Captain Reed convened his senior staff. Lisa Gray leaned over a holomap orbiting Earth, showing dozens of Allied vessels converging. "They've pledged support," she said, voice tight with triumph. The Orion Merchant Collective, the Yalara Protectorate, even the Independent Free Worlds League, they're sending ships. Mike Wilson tapped a firing control console to life. "We've upgraded our systems with Meridian tech. Thunderbolt's ready to stand as flagship for the new coalition fleet." Reed nodded, pride warming his chest. "Then let's take the fight to the Council's door." A council in crisis. On New Geneva, the seat of the Galactic Council, diplomat Kell paced beneath vaulted marble ceilings. Holoscreens glowed with images of Council enforcement ships lying disabled near Indra Prime, while archive stations across the outer rim blinked, "Data breach," in ominous red. "The humans," Kell whispered to Chancellor Vore, "they've united every disgruntled faction. The Meridian fleet sails under Reed's banner." Vore's lips thinned. "They forced our hand. Deploy the Vanguard Division. Crush this rebellion before it swells into open war." In the Council war room, fleets marshaled under a newly minted, emergency security protocol. Industry Prime dreadnoughts to blockade Earth orbit, while stealth cruisers hunted Meridian ships in the mid-rim. Yet, for every Council vessel mobilized, 2 more joined Reed's cause. Strike at New Geneva. Under cover of darkness, the Coalition fleet assembled at a hidden jump gate 10 light-years from New Geneva's star. Meridian cruisers, Earth frigates, and Yalara corvettes formed a crescent around the Thunderbolt. Captain Reed stood on his bridge, flanked by Gray and Wilson. "Once we jump in," Reed said, voice steady, "our target is the Council's central data vault on New Geneva. If we can expose their highest-level directives, proof of forced quarantine, engineered Scourge incursions, we'll break their control for good." He met Gray's gaze. "Are we ready?" Gray's fingers danced over her console. "All fighters armed and fueled. Jump drive at 98%. Coalition ships in formation." With a single nod, Reed gave the order, "Engage jump drive." Stars blurred into lines of light. When the Thunderbolt emerged from hyperspace, the grand spires of New Geneva gleamed against a violet sky. Council dreadnoughts and patrol frigates swarmed above the planet like angry hornets. "Enemy perimeter defenses active," Gray reported. 3 battle groups at Vector 1-3. Reed set his jaw. "Launch fighters, hit them hard and fast. We draw their fire. The Thunderbolt and flagship Meridian cruiser will punch through to the surface cap." Pulse cannons flared as Coalition fighters screamed into battle. For a heartbeat, the skies above New Geneva turned crimson with energy trails and explosions. Then, seizing a narrow gap in the Council blockade, the Thunderbolt and the Meridian flagship dove toward the planet's orbiting station. The final broadcast. Within the station's core, Reed led a small boarding party of Marines and Meridian engineers. They fought through stunned council guards to the central comm vault. Gray rammed a key code module into the terminal, and the station's universal broadcast began. Across trillions of comm channels, the council's lies spilled into every home: secret quarantine edicts, engineered scourge outbreaks, hidden sabotage protocols. People of the galaxy, Reed's voice rang out, clear and commanding. For centuries you were told we humans were dangerous children. We have learned now that the council itself was the danger. Today, we stand together, humans, Meridians, Yalarans, and free worlds, to forge a new alliance built on honesty, cooperation, and mutual respect. Let this broadcast be the first step toward a united, peaceful future. May no species suffer in silence again. A new dawn. When the broadcast ended, the station's defenders laid down their arms. In orbit, Council warships transmitted messages of surrender. On the bridge of the Thunderbolt, Reed allowed himself a tired but triumphant smile. Gray exhaled beside him. They did it, she said softly. Reed nodded, looking out at the battered but victorious Coalition fleet. Yes. We all did it. Below them, New Geneva prepared to receive its first truly democratic assembly. The age of Council hegemony was over, and the age of the Galactic Federation had begun. As the Thunderbolt powered up for the journey home, Captain James Reed knew the real work was just beginning, building trust across 1,000 worlds. But for the first time in 2 centuries, humanity, and the galaxy, would walk together in the light of truth.